Here's what you can look forward to on this episode of The Nice Guys on Business.
If you keep doing, we all know this, if you keep doing the things you're doing, you're going to keep getting the results that you're getting. So when people come to our programs, we teach a very specific prospecting system, and it might be a little bit uncomfortable because it's different from whatever it is they're used to doing, but I'm there to hold their hand. I do most of the coaching, and I'm going to hold your hand throughout the whole thing. And as long as people are just willing to try something that maybe is a little different from what they've done before, it really is a transformational experience.
So tell me, when the time is right, will you be ready for the Nice Guys on Business? Oh, yeah. Go from where you are now to where you could be. Get expert tips to grow your business, to be more productive and more efficient, whether you're trying to build influence, grow your community, or make it rain. Best-selling author of Nice Guys Finish First, Doug Sandler, can lead the way. The Nice Guys on Business is produced by TurnKey Podcast Productions. Now, here's your host, Doug Sandler.
All right, nice guy community. Imagine being able to sell more and on top of that, sell with great peace of mind, because sales can become more predictably accurate for you in your life. Now, imagine that, being able to actually predict when a sale is going to be made or closed. Wendy Weiss, she's the founder of Salesology Prospecting Method that generates predictable sales revenue. She's the author, speaker, sales trainer. She's also a sales coach and recognized as the leading authority on lead generation, new business development, and on sales. She is the host or hostess of Salesology, which TurnKey is proud to produce for her. And she's also the author of the Sales Winners Handbook, Essential Strategies to Skyrocket Sales Performance, and Cold Calling for Women, Opening Doors and Closing Sales. I love it. Wendy, welcome to the Nice Guys on Business podcast.
Well, thank you for having me, Doug. I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you here. And I love talking about sales because it is one of those subjects that not a lot of people like to talk about. So whenever I get an expert in the world of selling, I really enjoy this. Now, I want to go back to those elementary school age years that you were, kindergarten through sixth grade. I don't imagine, if you're like me, because I do a lot of selling in my day, I don't imagine that you grew up saying, I'm going to look forward to becoming a sales trainer and a sales coach. What is it that you wanted to be when you grew up?
Well, that is an amazing question, Doug, because I was never supposed to be a sales trainer. I was supposed to be a ballerina.
Wow.
And my first career actually was I danced with Pittsburgh Ballet Theater, and then I danced with the Cincinnati Ballet. And as you may know, ballet is one of the most difficult and exacting art forms. And I got into this field completely by accident because in between some of my dance jobs, I needed, like many artists, I needed a day job. And I got a job with a telemarketing agency that did business development. And lucky for me, they taught me this skill set. It was transformational. Learning this skill set enabled me a number of years later to build a business. Wow. So the really good news for any of our listeners that maybe are a little bit uncomfortable with the idea of selling, it is a skill. You can learn how to do it, and I am living proof.
So Wendy, share with me, give me maybe a one-word answer, and then I want you to expand upon it after I get your answer. True or false, involving selling, there's a lot of discipline.
Yeah. True.
So true. So true. Okay, we'll go with true. Where do you think it is for most people that the skill set of selling breaks down? If it does break down, is it in the discipline of doing the things, the follow up and the prospecting and the lead gen and all of the stuff, or is it in the communications, the software, the soft skills that are needed in order to do it? Where do you think that most people that aren't doing it well break down?
Well, let's take a step back and look at the word discipline, because for most people, when you say the word discipline, most people interpret that to be grit your teeth and somehow get through it. But that's not really what discipline is. And I learned this lesson. I actually believe that just about everything I know in life and business, I learned in ballet class, and I learned this in ballet class. If you're a dancer, you take a ballet class every single day. You do that for about 8 to 10 years, because it takes 8 to 10 years to train a ballet dancer. It will not take anyone that's listening today 8 to 10 years to learn the skill of selling, but it does take 8 to 10 years to train a ballet dancer. But if you go to a ballet class every day for 8 to 10 years, you will end up being a ballet dancer. And ballet has a tried and true methodology for teaching dancers to dance. So when you have a tried and true methodology for prospecting, for selling, it is not hard to be disciplined because you're following the roadmap.
Yeah. I love the idea of following a roadmap. My dad created Sandler Sales, and in Sandler Sales, he had this submarine component in his business. And the submarine was, hey, once you get through this one compartment, you seal it up. You don't have to go back. You never go back. And I find that is a really easy way to kind of visualize how selling is. It's, okay, are you doing these things? Are you doing your follow-up properly? Are you doing, I love what you said, is that when you call up the word discipline, a lot of people might look at that as these are rigorous, formatted, and it seems like grit your teeth and just get through it. I see it more as like a dance, like a combination of things that you're doing with either the prospect or with your system, and you're going through this what could be an enjoyable methodology, no matter whose training program that you're in. Do you find do you enjoy some components of the selling process more than others?
That's a really interesting question. I enjoy the prospecting piece. That when I got that day job all those years ago, it was the first time really, other than waiting on tables, that was another day job I had. That wasn't that much fun. I thought it was great fun because the agency that hired me told me exactly who to call, what to say when I got them on the phone, what to say. If they say A, you're going to say B. They taught me everything. And it was really kind of fun. And I still enjoy that today, having those conversations with complete strangers and being able to connect. And that's a skill set. It's not, there's this myth of the born salesperson, that somehow there are these people out there, they're just born knowing what to do and they're born knowing what to say. This is a myth. I'm not a born salesperson. They taught me how to do this.
Yeah.
And so today my company, Salesology, we work with business owners or solopreneurs, people that need to build their pipeline of opportunities and do it easily and quickly without trauma.
Yeah, I think the without trauma part is really the essential key to many people that want to try to avoid this whole pain subject that they think about sometimes when they think about selling. So maybe share what a relationship with you as a trainer, a coach, a consultant looks like when somebody opts into something that you're offering and you're having those initial calls. What are the things that are really helpful for you to know about this company or this person before you get started with somebody?
Well, the things that we need to know about someone is, are they willing, even if it's hard, to just get out of their comfort zone, even just a little bit? Because if you keep doing, we all know this, if you keep doing the things you're doing, you're going to keep getting the results that you're getting. So when people come to our programs, we teach a very specific prospecting system, and it might be a little bit uncomfortable because it's different from whatever it is they're used to doing. But I'm there to hold their hand. I do most of the coaching, and I'm going to hold your hand throughout the whole thing. And as long as people are just willing to try something that maybe is a little different from what they've done before, it really is a transformational experience. And I have people that come to us that were really, really scared. And now they're like, hey, this is kind of fun.
Talk to me about the ideal client for you, early stage entrepreneur, mid-level entrepreneur, someone that's a seasoned C-suite veteran. Who in your world would be ideal?
If you are a solopreneur or a small business owner, B2B, our business is primarily B2B, and you're frustrated with the boom and the bust, not quite knowing where your next sale is going to be coming from, and you want to have a very predictable system, and you're willing to step just a little bit outside of your comfort zone, then we should talk.
Okay, cool. Go ahead.
Or if you are a C-level business owner and you have a sales team and you're pulling out your hair because they're not producing, then we should also talk.
So the methodology behind Salesology and the actual building of that system that you created, tell me a little bit about it so that those stepping into your world can understand. One of the areas where I shared in the intro of you is predictable results. One of the biggest challenges that I think that people have in the boom or bust era, that type of program, is that sometimes a lot of sales come in, sometimes very few sales come in. How do you predict when somebody is going to buy from you or not? And how are you able to share that as a part of, what you do?
The system that we teach is actually based on what I learned in ballet class. And this is what I learned in ballet class. If you're a dancer and you have a concert coming up, you don't just run out on stage and start dancing. Mm-hmm. You have to warm up so that you don't have a career-ending injury. So there are things that business owner, that entrepreneur, you need to have in place so that you don't hurt yourself and you don't hurt the bottom line. Mm-hmm. So that's a clear definition of your target, who is the best fit type lead for you with your offering in your market. A definition of your process. That's one of the things. We're very process driven in Salesology. We need to have that clear definition of what are the steps. And then a clear definition of your message, because you're telling your story, so you want to tell it well. That's the warm-up. Next, you rehearse. If you're a ballet dancer, you don't just run out on stage and start dancing. You've been rehearsing for months. When you rehearse, when you practice, when you do the same thing over and over and over again, you get muscle memory. Muscle memory is automatic. You don't have to think about it. You can just execute it. The third step in the Salesology prospecting model, because we have warm up, rehearse, then and only then is it time to perform. And the problem is most people just jump to the performance, which is why they struggle. Mm-hmm. To me, the fear that many people have, it's a lot like stage fright. And I've been there. You're waiting in the wings. You're waiting for your music, for your cue. And your heart is pounding. Your palms are sweaty. You think you are going to throw up. And then you hear your music and you get out on stage and you dance. Well, what enables you to do that when you're so scared? Well, you've warmed up, so you're prepared. You've rehearsed. You have automatic muscle memory. That's what enables performance. And what I have seen in all the years that I've been doing that is, for most people, once they have a very simple system that they are following and they just know what they're doing every step along the path, a lot of that fear, that anxiety, what am I going to do? Mm-hmm. That just goes away.
One of the areas that I think, especially with technology being as prevalent as it is today, is everybody thinks I can put up a post on social media, or I can buy a Facebook ad or an Instagram advertisement, and that will lead to the phone ringing or more sales coming in the door. Tell me why you feel like telephone and Zoom meetings are an essential component in the sales process, as opposed to just doing those social media things.
That's the question, isn't it? And a few reasons. First of all, if you are selling a very low ticket item, it's true that just doing things online, that might be enough to drive traffic to a website and you get sales. If you are selling a high ticket item, I can pretty much guarantee you nobody is going to click on a buy now button for a $50,000 program.
Of course.
It's going to involve having a conversation. So the more skilled that you are at having that conversation, the better off you're going to be. And you can certainly use all the digital marketing tools, social media, everything to drive leads. But at the end of the day, you're going to need to talk to your prospect if you want to close those high ticket sales. And I'll add one more thing. There was this study done at the University of Chicago Booth School of Business, where they studied written communication against spoken communication. So written communication was like an email, text, a social media post, a letter. And spoken communication was if you're face-to-face with someone, or maybe a Zoom call, or on the phone, or even a voicemail. What they found, two things. First of all, they found if people hear you talk, even if it's only on a voicemail, they think you're smarter, and they are more likely to take action on whatever it is you're talking about. So it's vitally important to have conversations with your prospects, no matter where you find them.
I also love the idea of, those communications, whether it's through telephone or Zoom meetings or Zoom video, like we're doing today. But you're hearing this Nice Guy community, of course, in audio. But Wendy and I have communicated through video messaging and Zoom. What I love about that is the ease of which you can actually build a relationship when you're actually talking to someone, as opposed to just engaging with them on social media or through direct messaging. Yes, you might be able to do more volume of contact when you're dealing with social media and direct messaging, but you're never going to build the same level of relationship with someone. And for me, I love the idea of relationships equate to sales, and without those relationships, it makes it, you can close deals, but I don't know that there is the same personal commitment from that buyer to you as the seller or the business owner when you're doing it that way. Would you agree with that, or is that something that you have?
Absolutely. And here's another advantage of the telephone, because so many people think the telephone is dead, that if you pick up the phone and you start calling some prospects, I can pretty much guarantee you will be the only salesperson that has called them that day. A few years ago, if you were making calls, you'd hear, "Do you know how many salespeople called me today?" Because your competitors are not picking up the phone. So you want to differentiate yourself, pick up the phone and talk to your prospects.
Nice. I appreciate you saying that. Talk to those entrepreneurs that are out in our community right now that may be in a position to hire a sales team, or at least put one other salesperson in their organization under them, just to help them bolster sales a little bit. What's a mistake, or a common mistake, or even the number one mistake that business owners make when they're trying to hire salespeople?
That's a great question. And the number one mistake that business owners make when they're trying to hire a salesperson is the same number one mistake that business owners make when they're trying to sell, which is they don't have a process. I hear all the time from clients, business owners, entrepreneurs, they say, "Oh yeah, I want to hire a salesperson. I don't want to sell, I want to hire someone." I say, "Okay, great. What do you have in place for them?" And usually the answer is nothing. The research shows that about 83% of newly hired salespeople are gone in 3 years. They've either quit or you've had to let them go because they're not actually selling anything. That is a very expensive proposition.
Yeah.
And so step one is putting that process, that sales process in place, warm up, rehearse, perform. Put that in place. And then you can plug somebody else into it. That doesn't mean you have to do it forever, but you do need to have the process in place.
One of the things that we hear over and over again is that success leaves clues. And if that's the case, Wendy, what is a clue that you would be leaving behind as a successful salesperson?
The clue is I talk to people. And by the way, for all of our listeners, I'm an introvert. I am actually very shy, but I talk to people.
So your clue that you leave behind is the relationships and the conversations that you have with the people that are out there. And I think that's great. I think that we all need to have more conversations with people that, regardless of whether we feel like they're pre-qualified to buy the stuff that we are selling or not, to have the conversations really does get you in that, let's take that rehearse, let's take the practice, and then let's understand how it actually is supposed to be put together. And by having the practice and the rehearsal with just people in general, having conversations, I really do think it helps elevate our game even that much more.
Absolutely. And then you can do what we did after a performance. Every performance, we go into rehearsal the next day, and the rehearsal director would sit us down, and there'd be a really long list of all the things we'd done wrong that we had to fix by that evening. But here's the thing. Every day we fixed something, and we got better and better and better. So as you're talking to your prospects, if the conversation doesn't go exactly the way you wanted it to go, you can take a moment and say, well, okay, what could I have done differently?
Mm-hmm.
And if you do that every conversation every day, you will be astounded to see how your results will change.
Yep, I do love that. I do love that. So tell me a little bit about, I know you have this thing called a Sales Vault. I'm curious about it. So maybe tell our listeners about it, because they'll probably be curious about it too if they know a little bit more.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. I'll start by inviting everyone to listen to my podcast, Salesology Conversations with Sales Leaders. And you can listen to that Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you would normally listen to your podcast. And every time I interview a guest, and Doug Sandler was recently interviewed, we'll be releasing that shortly. And every time I interview a guest, each of my guests is kind enough to give our audience a gift. And so we have taken all of those gifts from sales leaders, marketing experts, revenue generation experts. We have taken all of those gifts and we have put them together in the Salesology Vault, and it's all free. So you can go to the Salesology Vault, and I know Doug has promised me he'll put the link in the show notes.
Excellent.
You can go to the Vault, download as many gifts as you'd like, and there's a new gift every week, because every Monday, we release a new episode of Salesology Conversations with Sales Leaders, and a new gift goes into the Vault. So you can go back every week and get your gift.
Nice. Well, thank you. I appreciate you sharing that. We'll make sure we do put a link in the show notes. I know that the Vault is available as of May 1st. So I think it was available as of May 1st. So yeah. if you're just tuning into this now, it has just become available. We'll put a link in the show notes. So I want to talk about the podcast for a quick second, because I'm really curious. You have conversations with sales leaders. So can you give me some examples, whether it's through name or through practice that they have? What are some of the things that you talk about? Obviously selling on your show, but give me an idea of the subject matter and maybe some of the things you talk about on your show.
Well, the things we talk about on the show are different ways that small business owners, entrepreneurs can generate revenue. So I'm talking to leaders of sales teams. I'm talking to solopreneurs. I'm talking to marketing experts. I interviewed you, Doug, on how to use your podcast and why someone should create a podcast to generate revenue for their business. So the focus of the podcast is really revenue generation. The full name of the podcast, it's very long: Salesology Conversations with Sales Leaders: The Art of Faster, Easier, More Profitable Sales.
All good things: faster, easier, and more profitable selling. That's the way to be. Thank you, Wendy, for sharing that. Thanks for sharing your Vault and all the other information on here on the Nice Guys today. Thanks for being here.
Well, thanks for having me.
Nice Guy community, never underestimate the power of nice. We found out all of the great things, that how you can translate a career in ballet to a career in selling, and Wendy did that and did that well. Special thanks to Wendy. All of her information, including access to her Vault, will be right there in the show notes. Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
Friday advice and Tuesday interviews with people far more interesting than they are. Fill up your week with the nice guys. Have fun storming the castle.